Ancient Greeks lived in the constant path of a volatile, living force. A river was an entity capable of nourishing a valley at dawn and tearing through a rocky gorge by nightfall with terrifying speed. Every source of fresh water possessed its own resident deity. These were the Potamoi, the river gods. Mythology identifies them as the 3,000 sons of the Titan Oceanus and his sister wife Tethys. Classical sculpture frequently presents these gods as stoic, heavily bearded men resting beside overflowing water jugs. It is a quiet, idealized image of a controlled environment. The mythological records, however, describe chimeric beasts. The Potamoi were often thrashing hybrids, massive bulls with human heads, or shifting combinations of man, bull, and fish. Despite these monstrous forms, the gods were assigned a surprisingly protective secondary duty. They were the designated guardians and nurturers of the young. This pairing of a horned beast with a gentle protector defined the ancient Greek worldview. Water is the life giver that demands to be feared, providing the exact nourishment needed for a child while retaining the power to wash an entire village away. While the Greeks tied their survival to the water around them, their most famous mythological rivers do not flow under the sun. They exist entirely in the lightless geography of the afterlife. Hades is mapped by its currents: the Acheron, river of sorrow; Cocytus, river of lamentation; and Pyriphlegethon, river of liquid fire. Two waterways break from the Potamoi's masculine lineage: Styx, river of hate, and Lethe, river of forgetfulness, both ruled by powerful goddesses. Styx was a daughter of Oceanus, but she secured her domain through political loyalty. She was the first immortal to side with Zeus during the decade-long war against the Titans. Lethe shares no blood with the other river gods. She is a daughter of Eris, the personification of strife, placing her origin in a lineage of cosmic discord rather than the waters of Oceanus. Beneath the earth, these currents ignore the familial structures of the surface. These waters answer to older dictates of cosmic debt and primordial conflict. Back on the surface, the river gods were highly territorial and politically active deities. They used their physical bodies as leverage in land disputes. When 3 local Potamoi judged against Poseidon in a contest for the Argolis region, the sea god retaliated by forcing their riverbeds to run bone dry during periods of low rainfall. While they struggled against the major Olympians, the Potamoi were absolutely lethal when provoked by mortals or demigods. During the Trojan War, Achilles committed a fatal error by insulting Scamander, the god of the river flowing past the city of Troy. Scamander responded by rising out of his banks to physically drown the Greek hero. Achilles was so thoroughly outmatched by the rushing water that it took the combined intervention of Hera, Athena, and Hephaestus to save him. Heracles found more success in a direct confrontation. While competing for a bride, he engaged in a brutal, physical wrestling match with the river god Achilles, who shifted through various animal forms to escape the hero's grip. Heracles pinned the god and tore away his bullhorn. That severed piece of the river god's body became the cornucopia, the eternal horn of plenty. These deities demanded constant vigilance from those who crossed them. They were physical combatants that forced even the greatest heroes into divine and physical submission. Beyond the violence of war, the Potamoi were defined by a relentless, possessive nature in their obsessions. When the huntress Arethusa fled the advances of the river god Alpheus, she crossed land and sea to escape his pursuit. In a final act of desperation, she transformed her own body into a freshwater spring to hide from his reach. Alpheus dissolved his own form and mixed his water directly into hers. He achieved through fluid physics what he could not achieve through the chase. This transformation was often the final state for those caught in the god's wake. After the mortal Acis was killed by a cyclops, his pooling blood was rewritten by the earth, becoming the Acis River of Sicily. These myths allowed the Greeks to codify an untamable environment. By assigning faces and desires to the water, they gave a name to the flash flood and the shifting riverbank. Civilization relies on fresh water to survive, but these gods serve as a reminder that the environment retains its own inescapable will. We use the river, but we are never truly in control of it.